Hi everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. As part of the big load of Ford parts that we bought at the auction, we've got a whole pile of old radios to muck around with. Look at all these. There's some pretty cool stuff here. Like, it'd be good if that one works. That's a proper radio for a 64 Galaxy. We've got here 1, 2, 3 vintage underdash 8-track players. Here's a factory in-dash 8-track player from a 70s, maybe an early 80s car, not sure. And then we've got over here some Philco radios, an AM FM. I'm keen to see if that one works. That one's AM, that one's AM, and then this one here, it's just an aftermarket AM radio, but it's got a busted shaft, so it's probably just junk. But hey, we're going to check out these things and see what works and what doesn't. We've got here a little an amp. And then this thing, this is the first thing we're going to look at. I'm not even sure what this thing is. It's all taped up. So we're going to at least get all this tape off it and see what's inside there. All right, so this is an Archer voltage inverter. So what this does, this is if you've got an old 6-volt car, but you want to run a 12-volt radio or some other 12-volt accessory in it. You can see input 6-volt negative ground or 12-volt positive ground, and the output is 12-volt negative ground. So that could be an interesting thing. I'll have to figure out how to test it. Of course, if it works, it'd be much more interesting. I don't know why they had it all wrapped up with duct tape, but they did. At least now we know what it is. First thing we're going to muck around before we get to the radios and stuff is this little compressor. If you'll recall, we bought it at an auction previously, and when I first plugged it in, it wouldn't work. But now, seemingly just from moving it and shaking it a bit, it seems to work. Maybe it was just stuck a little bit. So what we've done is we've hooked up a low pressure gauge to it. This gauge goes up to 30 psi. And I want to run it a bit and see if this makes enough air pressure that we can airbrush. Let's see what happens. Not too sure about this here gauge. Well, that's pretty cool then. We'll close this up and put it with our hobby stuff. And I'll have to get it the airbrush one day and see if it works for that. Well, this one works. Getting the French CBC. That's pretty cool. So we can put that in the this one works pile. Well, this one makes static. Oh, there we go. So it sort of works, but it goes in and out. You can hear the...
See why Pollux is a Consumer Choice Award winner. Think you've seen everything Pollux on Roxville has to offer? Check the second floor. It'll floor you.
Yeah, there's something wrong with the tuner on this one. This one seems to work pretty well. Let's see if the push buttons work. They're sticky. They need a little help. This one is just junk. I'm not even going to try it. Not much hope for this guy either. You can see the on off and volume post is busted off of it. So too bad. It's a real cute little aftermarket in-dash radio. The faceplate's missing though. So anyway, it is what it is. This one is a Philco. Now, I'm not sure year-wise. Some of them say Philco, some of them say Ford. I'm sure there's some rhyme or reason to that, but I'm not quite sure of it. So let's put on the power and see if this one comes to life. Oh, it's making static.
Cocktails and dinner.
Yeah, this one works. Let's see if the push buttons work. Yep, push buttons work, but like the other ones, they're sticky. They need lubricating. But I fixed that before. You can tell here by this piece of 1/4-inch plate on it that this thing has been mounted, you know, under a dash or in a tractor or something. But it works. That's the main thing. So here's our last monaural radio, the 64 Galaxy one. The first problem I see with it is the remains of an antenna are stuck in the hole there. So we're going to have to come up with something. But let's just turn it on first and see if it makes any static. So I don't really have enough fingers to show you everything, but it does work. I touched the antenna to the core inside the antenna there, and it started picking up and playing sound. This one, the push buttons all work, but the tuning knob doesn't seem to work. Now here's our AM/FM. Wonder if this one works. I've got 2 speakers hooked up, so I don't know what speaker's in the plug I've got here, but we'll see.
With the most 79. Toronto,
well,
72.
It works on FM. The stereo light even lights up. Let's see if we get AM. Yeah, there you go. There's AM. Now let's try the push buttons.
More pitching. There's more than 6,500.
Yep. And it looks like it came from a car from. Looks like it came from a car from Toronto, because all the buttons pick up stations. So that's good. We've got a good AM/FM stereo. Now this one is interesting. This is an AM/FM stereo 8-track from a Ford, and by the part number on it, it is EO 1980. So, well, let's see if we can bring this baby to life. So far, it's not looking so good. Looks totally dead, doesn't it? Doesn't light up or anything. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Just had to jiggle a wire. Okay, it's on AM. Electronic tuning. Not much happening on FMA. Oh, and I see smoke. Never good when you see smoke. Okay, we'll shut her down. I would say something bad just happened to this. AM works. Okay, I'm going to shut this one down before I burn my house down. Now, I've got these 3 old school FM 8-track players. Most of them, unfortunately, on the back have got these kooky 4 and 5 pin connectors. So, without being willy-nilly, I'm probably going to have to open each one of them up and see. These are the speaker hookups and the power in. So, without being sure of what you're hooking up stuff to, you could do a lot of damage. That'd be the ground. One of them is going to be power. The other one is probably the return, and there'll be 2 that are the 2 channels. But like I said, I don't want to fry anything, so we'll probably leave these for another day. Next up, very important, we have to fix Deb's dog walking flashlight. So this cap comes off, and in here there's a little carriage with 3 AAA batteries in it. See, there we go. Back in. It's like ammo, not batteries. And we'll see how it works now. We'll go in our dark corner and try it out. Oh yeah. That's downright tactical. Now we're going to open up this old vintage little Dixco tack. It's like a little 2-inch 8,000 RPM tack. We'll see how the heck it comes apart. I'm not even sure. I think there's you can see under there, under the pedestal mount, there's a screw. I thought this screw originally took the core out, but all that does is turn your red line point, I believe. Let me grab a screwdriver. So I managed to get the mount off. You can see there it's pretty messed up. White metal, that's what happens to it over time. So now we got to try and get this here screw out. You can see there's where the wires used to come out of it. I don't know if if they've gotten pushed in there or if they're ripped out of it. Who knows? Well, let's see if we can get this screw out. That's our next challenge. Wasn't a challenge at all. It wasn't even tight. That's good. Not going to need both hands to get this off. Hang on. Oh no. Huh? What do you know? There's all the wires. Just like that. Isn't that amazing? There may be hope for this thing yet. So I've got a message here to use on a 6-cylinder engine. Remove the lower resistor. And it's a Dixco Model 67. So before I mess with this any further, I'm going to go do some research. So thank goodness for Google. I was perplexed at first when I found this thing only had 3 wires. I was worried that somebody had ripped one wire out or that possibly it needed a sending unit. But no, I went on the Google and found out that's how these old Dixco tacks were. Normally if I was just looking at a random tack, this white here would be dash lights, black would be ground, green would be the signal from the negative side of the coil, and you would have a red for 12 volt positive. This doesn't have that. So how this works is green goes to the coil negative, white is ground, and black is the hot. And that's how it works. And it also said if inside light bulb doesn't work, the tack won't work properly. So we're going to hook this thing up and see if that works. It's hard to tell with the flash on this camera, but the internal illumination in the tack does work. So it should work. And it's nice when it's hooked up to ignition. You can see there the needle goes to 0. And when you unhook it, see it's got a little bounce to it. So I think we're in good shape. We'll take this thing outside and hook it up to an engine and see if it works. And there you have it. Wow, it works. The reading is off a little bit because it's a V8 tachometer and it's hooked to a 6-cylinder engine, but you get the idea. Now we'll clean it up. So I took it apart, got the pieces all cleaned up. Now we can put her back together. Well, that's pretty cool for something I found in the bottom of a box of junk that I bought at an auction, and it works. This is just too cool. So now what we have to do, this is the mounting foot that was on it. And well, you could tell there's going to be no mounting using that. So I'm going to have to look around in my junk and see if I've got something that we can use instead. Well, there it is, pretty snazzy. I had to make a new mounting pedestal for it, but this tack is ready to go to work. Now we've got this thing. It's somebody's homemade kind of stereo system. This is really, really cool. It's an old twin shaft 70s AM FM cassette deck. I really like this. This would be really, really cool in an old car. If it works. Only if it works. So let's see what happens here. Well, it lights up. Well, a bunch of fuzz comes out of it. I'm not too sure what to make of that. Anyway, what we're going to do is get this thing out of here and then we'll retest it. I'm not too sure about this wacky antenna hookup. Okay, I've got out of that box now. I'm not sure the speakers were, or I'm sorry, the antenna was hooked up properly. So anyway, we're going to have another go at it. See what happened. The tuner doesn't seem to do anything, does it? Oh! FM works. Okay, so that may just be sticky. Very interesting. Dare we try a cassette? So we've got the AM working. The tuner here was a little bit sticky. It just needs some servicing up, maybe some lubrication, and it'll be fine. And there's the FM. It even sounds good. This old made in Japan electronics from the 70s and 80s was good stuff, man. We don't realize how good this stuff was until now, years later, when we're all looking for it. Well, I'm going to grow a pair and stick a cassette in it. So you can barely hear some murmuring there. I got to talk over it louder. YouTube will nail me with copyright bullshit. Anyway, there you go. The cassette deck is playing. It needs cleaning and servicing and probably a new belt, but it works. So this deck has hope. So anyway, that was a fun little video. Mucking around, seeing what works and what doesn't. Now, in the next radio video, or electronic or electrical gizmos, we're going to open up the 64 Galaxy radio. We're going to get the broken antenna end out of it and clean it up so that that's a good radio. Same with this one. We're going to open it up, Now that we know it works, we're going to clean it all up. I'll put a belt on the tape deck, and we'll go from there. I will also, these 3 underdash 8-track players, we're going to open them up, figure out how those 5-pin plugs work on the back so we don't short them out or cross anything. And we're going to see if these work. These generally take a heavier belt than these do. I've got lots of cassette player belts. 8-tracks usually use a heavier belt. I don't know if I have any of those kicking around. But I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun. And at the same time, we're going to try and fix our little power supply. We're going to see what this thing does. This converts 6 volt to 12 volt. Or it converts 12 volt positive ground to 12 volt negative ground. That should be fun to see if that thing works. We've got this little heater I want to try. So we've got quite a few things to do in the next video. Anyway, that was kind of fun. I have zero clue what I'm doing with electronics aside from very, very rudimentary stuff. Plug it in, see if it works. I can squirt some WD-40 in something if it's tight or change a fuse if it's blown. I'm by no means an electronic technician. If it just plain doesn't work, I have to send it out. I don't have a clue. Maybe that's a skill I could try and learn one day. I mean, I took this stuff in high school, but it's all gone by now. Anyway, that was fun. Tune in for the next one when we fix up them other radios that are sitting over there. And until then, this is Kevin checking out from the Claremont Classic Garage. Thanks for watching, and so long.